This building is called the Nicole MacFarlane STEM Center, after alumna Nicole MacFarlane. Nicole's going to say a few words for us today. I have a little bit of a bio first. Nicole, she enrolled at Landmark College in 1996 after searching to find the right educational model throughout her life. When she learned about Landmark College and she heard the phrase learning differences, she was determined to visit and find out more. Soon after, she enrolled here and she thrived as a student, bonding with faculty members who recognized her strengths and encouraged her to overcome obstacles. When the opportunity arose for Nicole, her husband Alex, and his parents, Roger and Ruth MacFarlane, to support the new SciTech Center, they facilitated a $2 million matching pledge through the Tambor Foundation, which drove forward the campaign to create this facility. Last year, Nicole was awarded the very first Landmark College accolade, recognizing her powerful contributions to the Landmark College community. And Nicole, I was here when they put up those letters, and I was watching to make sure there were no misspellings, trust me. I was watching, and I looked at it, and it was such a wonderful moment. Nicole, why don't you come up here and say a few words about this?
Hello. Thank you, Dr. Eden. I'd like to talk briefly about the moment of inspiration that led to my involvement in the STEM Center project. It was a few years ago while holding my newborn daughter, Daphne. In the very early morning hours of morning, I looked at her sweet face, full of innocence and such possibility. It was in those treasured moments that I wish I could protect her forever. Of course, as a parent, we all wish we had that superpower to protect and keep our children safe for always. I realize it's not possible, especially when we send our children out into the world. My daughter Daphne, still very much a baby at 3 years old, now has a little brother Liam, who is 1.5. I still have many years that will go by too quickly, I'm sure, until they leave my protective nest and venture off into the world. Because my children are so young, I don't know what their learning style will be, or whether or not they'll struggle academically. It was in those early morning moments, as a new mother, that I wondered if Daphne would struggle in school the way that I did. Then I was comforted by the thought of Landmark College. Memories flooded my very hormonal mind, but in the end I felt thankful. Thankful that a college existed for students like myself and for many others not that different than me. And especially thankful as a parent that a school such as Landmark exists for my own children to attend should the need arise. When I attended Landmark almost 20 years ago, I was surrounded by educators and my ever-present academic advisor, Jeff Burgess. For the first time in my academic journey, I felt that I was right where I was supposed to be, having teachers who championed for me, who encouraged me, who were tough, but very fair, and who knew the potential I had that no other teacher seemingly saw in me. I remember thinking after a few English 101 classes with Jill Hinckley, an English professor is finally validating my skills in writing. I was so happy because I knew I wrote well, and I refused to believe anyone who told me otherwise. I'm a little stubborn like that. But for so many students who are constantly being told that they aren't trying hard enough or not applying themselves and are receiving low grades despite the amount of effort they put into an assignment or exam, receiving constant negative feedback can profoundly damage their drive to continue with their academic journey. When one is made to feel like a failure time and time again, there's a strong chance that person will start to believe it and perhaps even give up. And that is truly heartbreaking. For me, Landmark College was a revelation. Instead of constantly being misunderstood, I was at a place that surrounded me with nurturing support and gave me the motivation to tackle my academic challenges head on. I will perhaps regret this story, even even if that required my advisor, Jeff, to trek over to my dorm room and roust me out of bed to ensure that I attended my 8 a.m. class. Now, coincidentally enough, it was his 8 a.m. class I was attempting to sleep through. And for current students in the audience, he doesn't do that anymore. So set the alarm. Because of my experiences and educators who remain with me today and the lasting friendships I made while at Landmark, I realized I had an opportunity to get back to where it all started, the first educational institution that believed in me. I owed it to my children, to students like myself, and to Landmark to work hard along with other supporters to ensure that the STEM Center was more than a vision for the school's future, but a real possibility. And here we all are today at the grand opening of the college's first new academic building, though certainly not the last. While the building bears my name, we all have had a hand in making the STEM Center stand here today. From the numerous donors to the tireless efforts of all of the faculty and staff. From the people swinging hammers in the harsh winter months, it has been a collaborative effort to arrive at this momentous occasion. Sorry, I'm getting a little choked up. Landmark has changed in so many ways since my days here, but one thing that remains the same is that Landmark is a leader in colleges for students who learn differently. And that is largely due to the educators who have dedicated themselves to their students. Now, I would be remiss if I didn't take a moment more to acknowledge those who also made a lasting impact in my life, which led to my desire to support Landmark all of these years later. As mentioned, and I promise I will stop mentioning your name, Jeff Burgess was the catalyst for my inspiration to support Landmark. There were other educators as well, such as Jill Hinckley. I always looked forward to her class, and when I made a B in her course, it was the best looking B I had ever seen. It truly was. There's Leslie Lewis, whose course gave me the freedom to explore different aspects of my love for writing. Also here today is my former biology professor, Abigail Littlefield, who has a wonderful new home in the building we are dedicating today. Then there's Tom Trenchard, whose collaborative negotiations course gave me the skills I still use today, skills that I've come to realize are quite useful when having discussions with my husband, Alex. Speaking of which, I can't fully put into words that the support I felt from Alex, except to say how utterly thankful I feel to have him as my husband. Alex went beyond supporting my pursuit to help Landmark acquire funding for the new STEM Center. He also, on his own, pursued additional ways to support the college. That gesture's meaning will never be lost on me. My mother and father-in-law, Ruth and Roger MacFarlane, have been nothing short of extraordinary. They so believed in the vision of Landmark and this project that they took my original idea and catapulted it to a leadership level. I'd also like to acknowledge and thank my family for making the trip here to be here today. Thank you. And lastly, President Eden, whose overwhelming enthusiasm and passion inspired my family to get deeply involved and whose leadership has transformed Landmark into what it is today, an innovative college making great strides into the future while still maintaining its core mission, which is and will always be about the students. This is what gives me peace when I think about my own children, as I did those years ago. Thank you.